Writing Excel formulas is one of the most important tasks to master in Excel, but it can be a minefield trying to get your head around all the functions available and knowing which one to use for the task at hand. But now, with this free AI-aided formula editor, you can have it write the formulas for you from inside Excel. It can also explain how existing formulas work and suggest improvements and tutorials to help you learn. Let's take a look. The editor is free to download from the Insert tab, Get Add-ins, and then simply enter AI-aided formula editor. Click on Search, and it's this first one here. Click Add, agree to the terms and conditions, and click Continue. I've already inserted it, so I'm going to close out of here, and you'll notice I've got a new tab on my ribbon containing the tools. It's the first one here. The other two, we've got documentation and then help desk if you want to get in touch with the developers. So let's open it up. It opens a pane on the right hand side, and you can use the pull handle here to make it wider, or you can left click and drag it from the top and bring it out into a separate floating window. To activate the AI generator part, click on the button here, and then we get the field at the top where we can describe our formula. So let's give it a go. The table here is called Table 1, and I want to count the number of components where sales are greater than 3,000. So I'm going to describe my formula. Now I've used the table name and column names because it's in an Excel table, so I want it to use the structured references. However, if your data's not in an Excel table, then you'd enter in the cell references here. In this case, it would be D2 through to D18. And the category column would be B2 through to B18. So I've entered in my formula description. I can click the submit button, or I can use the keyboard shortcut Control Enter, and AI is going away and it's figuring out how to write my formula, and there it is. Notice it's nicely laid out and color coded, making it really easy to read. You can click on the thumbs up or thumbs down to give the AI feedback. And if you don't get the answer you want, you can click the submit button again, or you might want to reword your description to make it clearer. Now, if I want to use the formula, I simply click the arrow button to write it to the cell. Notice that in the formula bar that it hasn't applied this nice formatting that we see down here. You can copy it out if you prefer and paste it in. And now if we make the formula bar wider, you can see it there in the cell. The color coding disappears unless you're in edit mode. If you want the formula explained, you can select it all and hover over the blue section. You can see it's loading the explanation. It's told me the result is 3, and then in plain English it explains what the formula is doing. So it's super helpful. Alternatively, you can click on the comment icon here, and then down in the console you'll see it's evaluated it and it'll be thinking about the explanation. And there it is there, and that will stay there until you clear it. Let's clear that so that it's ready for our next example. In the Write Formula section, you can also write your own formula. So let's say I prefer to do this with some product. I wouldn't, but let's just go with it for this example. Notice it doesn't have the IntelliSense. It doesn't auto-complete for me. So I want where Table 1 sales are greater than 3,000 and Table 1 category equals components. Now, I haven't formatted it very nicely, so we can click on this button here and it will apply the formatting. Let's just make the window a little bit bigger. And if I want to use that formula, I can click the arrow key to write it to the cell that's selected. Again, it hasn't brought in the formatting with all the carriage returns, so we can copy it out and paste it directly in the formula bar. The AI-aided formula editor can also help you understand formulas. Simply select the cell containing the formula. I'm going to turn off the AI generator part because I don't need that anymore. I'm just working with the current cell formula. And then I can select it all and hover my mouse over it. It comes up with the result. It also gives me a suggestion of how I can improve the formula, and it explains what the formula is currently doing. Like we saw previously, we can also click on the comment icon here and then go down to the console and see the results there if that's easier. If you're working with large formulas that have lots of nested functions, you can collapse parts of it to make it easier to work with. You can also pin a formula, so clicking on the pin icon here, I can then navigate to another formula, so I can go over to this sheet here, I can look at this cell, but notice that it doesn't replace the formula that it's displaying. So I'm able to bring this formula with me, and if I wanted to, I could select a cell and write it to a different cell. This is handy if you want to copy the formula to another cell, or when you're troubleshooting other formulas that might be linked, for example. If the formula can be simplified or modified, it will display a yellow wavy line under the relevant sections, and hovering over this displays the current formula and the suggested alternative. So we can see here it's suggesting that we replace the nested if function with the newer ifs function. We can also see a video tutorial. It's going to take us to YouTube. If we want to navigate specifically to the problem area, you can use the shortcut key Alt F8 or click the link. So here it's told me this is one of one problems. The nested if functions can be replaced by ifs. Pretty cool, huh? Now if we want to go ahead and use the suggested formula, you can copy it out of the dialog box here and then paste it into formula bar. And notice the yellow wavy line's gone away. It's happy with this version of the formula. Now currently this feature is limited to a specific list of scenarios and it's not available for all functions, so don't be surprised if it doesn't pop up when you might expect it to. The AI tool behind the formula editor is based on OpenAI Codex, which is a descendant of GPT-3 and the same AI that powers GitHub Copilot. That means it's not familiar with information post-2021 and it isn't aware of some of the new functions Excel has, like text split, etc., that were added in 2022. For example, if I ask it to write a formula that splits text after each comma, it returns this convoluted trim mid substitute formula. I'm not even sure if it'll work. Let's pop it in. No, it doesn't. It only returns speaker. It's not aware that we have text split, but if you have a version of Excel that does, you can actually ask it to use text split and click submit, and it manages to write it correctly. It just won't use it unless you prompt it to. Keep in mind that OpenAI Codex is still being developed, so currently it won't get every answer right, and it's not great at super advanced formulas like lambdas. However, over time it will improve, and in the meantime, if it doesn't give you the desired answer, you can click the submit button again to try and get a different response. If not, try rephrasing your question and providing more specific instructions. Obviously, the clearer your question, the more likely you are to get the correct answer. I hope you found this tutorial useful. Go ahead and download the AI aided formula editor and try it out. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. And why not share it with your friends who might also find it useful. Thanks for watching.